Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachai Yamuna Tira Vanachai Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Yashodanandana Bhajana Yashodanandana Bhajana Yashodanandana Jajanandana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari. Jaya Vishnu Paramahansa Parivajacharya Stol Sadasisama. His Divine Grace of Vaishnava Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON founder, BBT founder Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnu Paramahansa Parivajacharya Stol Sadasisama. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Nama Shajla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kun Radhakun Giri Govardhana Ki. Masura Vrindavan Dhamma Ki. Navadip Mahaprabhu Dhamma Ki. Jagannath Puri Dhamma Ki. Nrsinga Kshetra Dhamma Ki. Chamuna Maya Ganga Maya Janu Maya Ki. Shri Mai Tulsi Devi Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki. Sankirtan Yagya ki, Transcendental Book Distribution ki, Transcendental Prasadam Distribution ki, Transcendental Cow Protection ki, Samveta Bhaktivinoda ki, Go Premanande, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees. How do you say in German, all glorious assembled devotees? Ali what? Ali Erebes? I give up. Better write it down for me. I can say, Sikh High Bhaktivinoda. Is that wrong? All right. Go Premanande. All glorious assembled devotees. All glorious assembled devotees. All glorious assembled devotees. All glorious Sri Guru. And Sri Gauranga. Glorious to the Pope. Oh, my mobile phone. Can you get my phone? So, give me the book, please. For the time being, I need the phone now. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutirayed Nasapreshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Offer my respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of God, Narayan. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Narayan, Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being. Unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. And unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regularly attending the Srimad Bhagavatam class. And by rendering service to the pure devotee. All that is inauspicious within the heart is practically destroyed. And thus loving service to the glorious Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being, an irrevocable fact. So today, we're continuing hearing by common request. I don't usually want to do 2 days running. Canto 3, chapter 21, verse 6. Okay. Maitra Uvacha Praja Srijati Bhagavan Kadamo Brahmanoditaha Sarasvatyam Tapas Tepe Sahasranam Samam Dasha Maitre Uvacha Praja Srijeti Bhagavan Kadamo Brahmano Ditaha Sarasvatyam Tapastepe Sahasranam Samadasa Maitreya Uvacha Prajashijeti Bhagavan Kadamo Brahmanodita Sarasvatyam Tapastepe Sahasranam Samadasha Maitreya Vacha Prajayati Bhagavan Brahmano Oditaha Saraswatyam Tapaste Sahasrana Madasa Maitreya Vacha Sijeti Bhagavan Pranamo Brahmano Dita Sarasvatyam tapastepe Samasanam samadasha Maitreya Uvacha Prajashijeti Bhagavan Maitreya Vacha Iti Bhagavan Kadamo Brahmano Dita Maitreya Vacha Prajashijeti Bhagavan Brahmanodita Saraswatyam Tapastepe Sahasranam Samadase Maitreya Uvacha. The great sage Maitreya said, Praja, children, Srija, beget, iti, thus, Bhagavan, the worshipful, Kadamaha, Kadama Muni, Brahmana, by Lord Brahma, Uditaha, commanded, Saraswatyam, on the bank of the river Saraswati, Tapaha, penance, Tepe, practiced, Sahasranam, of thousands, Samaha, years, Dasha, 10. Translation and purport by ISKCON founder Acharya, Divine Grace, Abhaya Naravinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. The great sage Maitreya replied, Commanded by Lord Brahma to beget children in the worlds, the worshipful Kadima Muni practiced penance on the bank of the river Saraswati for a period of 10,000 years. Please repeat. The great sage Maitreya replied, commanded by Lord Brahma to beget children in the worlds, the worshipful Kadima Muni practiced penance on the bank of the river Saraswati for a period of 10,000 years. Purport. It is understood herein that Kadima Muni meditated in yoga for 10,000 years before attaining perfection. Similarly, we have information that Valmiki Muni also practiced yoga meditation for 60,000 years before attaining perfection. Therefore, yoga practice can be successfully performed by persons who have a very long duration of life, such as 100,000 years. In that way, it is possible to have perfection in yoga. Otherwise, there is no possibility of attaining the real perfection. Following the regulations, controlling the senses, and practicing the different sitting postures are merely the preliminary practices. We do not know how people can be captivated by the bogus yoga system in which it is stated that simply by meditating 15 minutes daily, one can attain the perfection of becoming one with God. This age, Kali Yuga, is the age of bluffing and quarrel. Actually, there is no possibility of attaining yoga perfection by such paltry proposals. The Vedic literature, for emphasis, clearly states 3 times that in this age of Kali Yuga, in this age of Kali, Kalo nascheva, nascheva, nascheva. There is no other alternative, no other alternative, no other alternative than Hare Nama. And then there's a brackets, 1721. Adi Chaitanya Chaitanya, Adi 1721. Chanting the holy name of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Does anyone give me permission to press on this button and go to Adi 1721 and see what it says? Hands up. Give me permission. Okay. Here we go. Motorola key. Wow. Here it comes. Veda-based key. Bhaktivedanta Veda-based key. And the sloka is, you'll be very surprised. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, Kalona seva, Naseva, Naseva, Gati Anyata, and so on. In this age of Kali, there is no means, there is no other means, no other means, no other means for self-realization than chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name of Lord Hari. Yes, wow. And guess what? There's no purport. But it does say in the next verse, I'm very attracted to read to you. Do you mind? No? Kali Kale Namarupe Krishna Avatara Namahaiti Haya Sava Jagat Nistara. Kali Kale Namarupe Krishna Avatar Namahaiti Haya Sava Jagat Nistara. It's very far out. In this age of Kali, the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Simply by chanting the holy name, one associates with the Lord directly. Anyone who does this is certainly delivered. Yeah, amazing. Certainly delivered. Simply by chanting the holy name, one associates with the Lord directly. Anyone who does this certainly delivered. So now I press the button and go back to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Here we go. Matra Uvacha Prajashri Jati Bhagavan Kadamo Brahmanoditaha Sarasvatyam Tapastepe Sahasranam Samadasha. The great sage Maitreya replied, commanded by Lord Brahma to beget children in the worlds, the worshipful Kadama Muni practiced penance on the bank of the river Saraswati for a period of 10,000 years. Yeah. Sahasranam Samaha Dasha. That's Sahasranam Samaha Dasha. 10,000 years. Practice meditation. It's the word for meditation. Tapas tepe. Practice penance and I was in our travels recently. We were in Denver, Colorado, and Prabhupada did some morning walks in Denver, Colorado. There's a nice park not far from the temple. The temple's really nice. It was an old, previously it was like a church. What was it? A church, Protestant church. But it was very beautiful. And the devotees made it very nice. And the deities of, maybe I've got a problem here. The deities, can you remember? It was Jagannath. There was Gonitai. I know there was Gonitai. There were 3 altars. What are 3 altars? Oh my goodness. Just shows, you know. This is Kali Yuga. Prayanal Payusa Sabya Kalavasmin Yugajana Manda Samanda Mateo Manda Bhagya Hiupadrita. In this age of Kali, people will be short-lived. Prayanal Payusa Sabya Kalavasmin Yugajana Manda Samanda Mateo Manda Bhagya Hiupadrita. Be lazy, unlucky, unlucky, misguided, and always disturbed. So, memory is difficult. In previous ages, people used to remember everything just by once reading. Just remember Nimai Pandit and this Keshav Kashmiri. He asked, because all the Brahmins in Navadvip when Keshav Miri came. He was Digvijay Pandit. He wanted to defeat everybody in the whole of India, subcontinent. It was Kashmir also. It was East Bengal also. And I think it was probably in Thailand, it was probably everywhere. In Malaysia. Anyway, so then all the Pandits were scared. All the local Pandits were scared. Go to Nimai Pandit. So they went, and Nimai Pandit was sitting with his kids by the side of the children, by the side of the river. And Nimai Pandit wanted to, and Nimai knew he wanted to challenge him. So he respectfully asked him, can you compose some verses glorifying the Mother Ganga? Ganga Mai. And then he composed, like the wind, 64 verses. And then Nimai, he repeated one of the verses. I don't know which verse. And he found 3 faults in it, grammatical faults, by analyzing it into Sanskrit. So in those days, people were Shrutidar. There's one story Prabhupada told us, says that there was some quarrel between an Englishman and another Englishman or some other person. And there was no witness. There was no witness about the quarrel, except one Brahmin who was sitting there. So the Brahmin was called to the court. And although the Brahmin didn't know English, he recited the whole conversation. Whew. And that was taken as evidence in the court case. So amazing, no? So it was possible then. So anyway, in Kali Yuga, memories are short memories. So we can't remember very much. And we're unlucky. Unlucky we're born. Just see how unlucky we are. There's some kids are born and their parents are giving him vaccination. My dear boy, take a vaccination. And my boy, and everyone has COVID-19. How unlucky we are. Or, even if it's a hoax, if it's a bluff, which some people say, it's very unlucky. And lazy. People are lazy, especially for spiritual life. If we get some money, what do we do with the money? We go and sit in the bar and watch the football. We're very eager to watch the football. If someone wants to come and say, excuse me, sir, would you like to take a book? Sorry, no. Because we're not interested in spiritual life. We don't think about who I am, why I come here, and where I'm going next. Don't think about that. Don't be pessimistic. Don't think about those things. Just watch the football and drink your beer. And then always disturbed. There's always some problem. The news is full of problems. It's really, if you look at the news, you're going to see problems. There's so many problems. Unbelievable. New ones every day. That's how they sell the news. People love misery. Especially when it's someone else's misery. We just heard, I told Prabhu, I said, will the cow, you've built some nice cow shelters for the cows. And they go and they sit at night. Have you ever seen them? They're like plastic, like very nice actually, tents, big tents, blue and white and everything. I said, what happens if a hurricane or tornado comes? They said, oh, what? Hurricane, tornado? Yes, it just happened in Czech. Do you know that? The cars were flying in the air. Cars flying in the air. Houses were swept up. Devastation. One whole small town was wiped out. People were killed. In a tornado. Yeah. So disturbing, you know. But big news. So many things. You know. What to do. I just read some hellish news. You know, it's crazy, but it's true. If you believe the news. But Ethiopia has built a huge dam on the River Nile. 500 feet high. 400 feet high. To block the Nile River. And the Nile River supplies Egypt with water. What a stupid thing to do. Can you believe it? But it's not so stupid because of shortage of water. Dr. Sahadev, our temple president in Secunderabad, Hyderabad, he's written many books. He wrote one book about the oil wars. And then he also said, the next wars will be the water wars. And it looks like it. Because the United Nations is trying to stop them fighting. Stop Ethiopia and Egypt fighting. Because it's going to stop their water. They won't be able to, you know, Egypt depends on that Nile water. But they cannot cooperate. They're trying to get them to cooperate. United Nations. So they're so unlucky. And why are they unlucky? Because they're not Krishna conscious. They're so unfortunate. You know. Because they don't have Krishna consciousness yet. Yet. Lord Chaitanya said, Pritibhiti yachi yata nagaradi gram savatra prachahoy bimona. Tribhuvanath, my godbrother, he was preaching in Cairo. And they were after him. The secret police were after him. He was hiding, he was trying to preach. Why was he trying to preach? Because he managed, with Harikesh Maharaj and others, to print the Arabic Gita. So he's trying to distribute Arabic Gitas in Cairo. And it went down like a lead balloon. How do you translate that? A lead balloon. You know, balloons usually float. A balloon is floating up to the ceiling. But just imagine a balloon made of lead. Lead is heavy metal. And break the marble. So book distribution. Tribhuvanas was very daring. So daring. He was a pioneer. But now, in those countries, you know, only the Indians, there's quite a few Indians, they know about Krishna consciousness. They keep it to themselves, the Hindus. It's very dangerous. You know, there's Islam is not very tolerant to deity worship, or the Vedic scriptures, or also the form of the Is that your God? Is that your God? Krishna and Balaram. Then I realized, you never take the book. Yeah. Because people are ignorant. They're covered with nationalism. Prabhupada says nationalism, tribalism, the bodily concept of life. In Congo, where I preach, I have a map of Congo. At least 250 tribes in Congo. 250. More than that. And each tribe has its own village deity. We have our own customs. And there's tribal warfare. Now Europe is it's about as big as, Congo is about as big as Western Europe. And here we have, how many tribes do we have? France tribe. We have British tribe. We have the British has got out of it now. We got German tribe. We got the Czech tribe. We got the Slovakian tribe, Italian tribe. Tribes. What does a tribe mean? It means I think I belong to this land. This land is mine. I am British. I am French. I am German. Why do we think this? Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatuke svadi kalatradishu bhomya ejiti yateta buddhi salilena kahichich janespa bigyeshu saeva gokara. Anyone Yasyatma buddhi who identifies with his body, which is made of bile, mucus and air, a bag. You know that this body is just a bag of bile, mucus and air. Oh, what a bad smell. Bile, mucus, svada kalatari shubham, svadi kalatari. And my dear beloved wife and children and baby in my pram. So precious baby. I'm thinking he's mine. And my husband is mine. So it's a smelly thing. He's mine. And smelly wife. Smelly couch. That's why, when we travel, that's why when we travel, Harinam Ruchi, as soon as we get through these are true stories. When we get through the security and the stamp, immigration, woof woof, who goes there? Dogs barking, woof woof, who goes there? Immigration department, creating misery. Prabhupada's words, not my words. I wrote a song about it actually. I won't, maybe too controversial. Anyway, when you get through all that, then you can play accordion, because you're in no man's land. You're heading for the flight. So we go through the perfume department. It's vast. Dior. There's so many different kinds of perfumes from different companies for men and women. And I start to think, why do they need all this perfume? If this body's so nice, why we need to... And they're expensive. Wow, you buy a Christian Dior perfume, or Giorgio, something or other. They cost a lot of money. You get them in the duty free. You give to your girlfriend, your mother, your wife, your husband. You don't like to tell him you smell. You just buy him a bottle of... Oh, this is true, it's just true. So what do we do? One time, it was amazing. I don't know which airport it was. But in these airports, during this COVID lockdown, all the girls in the perfume department, they got nothing to do all day, literally. And a lot of them are Filipinos and Japanese. They're very sweet people, So when they hear the kirtan, they went wild. At least 10 of them. all dancing up and down. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Amazing, you know. Airports are amazing for Harinam. Because, especially at this time, nothing's got anything to do. And they're bored stiff. All day they look at these people having a good time. Well, they think they're having a good time. They think they're having a good time. That's the illusion, that's Maya. But anyway, where were we? Anyway, it's the holy name, you see. And none different from Krishna. It works, you see. And we all know about the holy name. That's why we're all here. That's why we're all here. And you know, when I heard the holy name, I like to tell this story. It just shows the power of the holy name. I was in the deepest part of my ignorant life. I wouldn't like to tell you what I was doing in polite society, you know, in the presence of Srimad Bhagavatam. But anyway, I was standing on a street corner in London, in Ladbroke Grove. That's where all the hippies and students hang out, because cheap rent near the centre of London. Cold winter's day, mist, fog, you couldn't see much. And an old railway bridge in front of my eyes. There's a lot of black people who stay there in that area also. So, I don't know what I was doing there, but it was Sunday morning. I was couch surfing. You know couch surfing? Do you know, can you translate couch surfing? That means you don't know where you're going to stay, but you crash out on people's sofas, on their floors, in different apartments or rooms. Anyway, I was standing there, totally in ignorance, wondering what to do. Getting louder and louder. What's that? I didn't know what it was. Because it was the devotees. And they had been chanting for 2 miles from Queensway, Hyde Park, through Notting Hill Gate. And guess what? They're really hot. They're sweating like anything. In the cold winter air, the body is steaming. Because the body is hot and the air is cold. And it appears that vapor is coming from their body. And all of a sudden, the sun came out from behind a cloud and spotlighted them. And they all had shaved heads and tilak and robes and steaming. I looked at them and I almost vomited. I thought, let me get out of here. I ran, you know. I moved out as fast as I could. I thought, you know, what is this? Zombies. Zombies. I don't want to be like them, you know. That was my first impression of devotees. Zombies. What happened to them? Totally brainwashed. And actually, Prabhupada did say, when the brainwash case was in America, Prabhupada said, yes, they are. We are brainwashing them, washing their brains. Chaitodapana Marjana. And I thought, just for that, say 2 minutes, association of devotees, the holy name must have gone in somehow. And when I look back on it, I did think, you know, these people believed in God. And by that time, although I believed in Lord Jesus when I was a child, and when I was, before I, you know, the hormones kicked in, before I believed in sex, then, you know, I believed in God. You know. So, that's what it was. That's what happened. But the holy name must have penetrated. You know, because I was very depressed, because my domestic life, you know, family life was collapsing, so-called family life. So, you know, it penetrated. So many people are like that in Kali Yuga. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama. I didn't put in the purport, did I? It's just like a setup of Mahavishnu Swami. Let me have a look in the book. See what it says. Maybe I'm imagining things. Was it Harinam in the purport? I read the whole purport, right? Yeah. It's talking about yoga. Now, of course, yoga is very popular in ISKCON now. Yeah. We were in Mar del Plata in Argentina. Mar del Plata is a seaside resort in Argentina. Every time we go there, usually every time we go there, or one time we got, I think 2 times we've been there. There's a big yoga convention. Big yoga convention. Hundreds and hundreds. Actually, 60% marriages. They come for the yoga convention. And it's on a big resort by the seaside. And they're all in this big hall, like a aircraft hangar. It's just like huge. And they're all in there. And they're very nice people. They're very nice people. Many of them vegetarian now. And they're very open to meditation and mantras. And I was listening, and there was one Mataji was leading the meditation. They take them on like a trip, you know, an audio trip. They don't take drugs. But they take them now. You imagine you're in a peaceful surrounding and you're drifting up in space, and this and this and this and that. They take them on like a poetic trip, you know, during the meditation. It goes on for, and half of them fall asleep. Prabhupada was there in Dr. Mishra's studio. And then when I was in New York, one devotee showed me Dr. Mishra's studio, Riverside, New York, by the river. It was like a 12-story building. And I didn't go up there because Dr. Mishra's moved out. But that's where Prabhupada, he had to walk every day. And because he was taking the meal at Dr. Mishra's studio, his place, he had to walk for 5 or 10 minutes. And then come to Dr. Mishra's to go upstairs. He wasn't such a welcome guest, but he was a good cook. Prabhupada was a good cook. And Dr. Mishra was sick. And Prabhupada used to sit there and bite his tongue. You know, he didn't want to say anything, you know. But when he got a chance, when Dr. Mishra was out, he would start preaching Krishna consciousness. But this was yoga. And Prabhupada saw them, they were falling asleep. They're supposed to be staring at the tip of their nose. Just like we do sometimes in japa. Dive bomb japa. Hare Krishna. Someone says, Gauranga! Hare Krishna. So we've all done it, you know, when we're tired. So anyhow, Prabhupada could see that this yoga wasn't getting him anywhere. They were paying some money to Dr. Mishra, maybe $15. And it's so nice to get back to Prabhupada again. So one friendly person who was at Dr. Mishra's yoga studio in New York told Prabhupada, why you don't go to Lower East Side when the hippies are there? They'll be interested. There's a book. There's a bookshop, Paradox Bookshop. They'll take your books. And they're interested in yoga, Eastern religion. Why don't you go down there? So then Prabhupada moved down. What was the name of the person? I saw his house too. Prabhupada moved down to a loft where, was it not Bruce, or someone else. They put Prabhupada up in a loft. Huh? Huh? I don't remember his name. No. It was before Matchless. 2 places before Matchless Gifts. Steve? Maybe it was Steve. And his wife wasn't so friendly. But Prabhupada, had to stay somewhere. And he wasn't so compatible. So then Bruce was acid head, and he kept running. And then you know the story from Leela. Is full Leelamrita in German? And this is a big sinful, I would say sinful, after all these years. If you don't know all these stories, you don't know nothing about Prabhupada. Do you know what Prabhupada was called when he was a little baby? And he was also called Moti. Have you read you read it in English, right? Why not in German? People would love to hear about Prabhupada's childhood, Prabhupada in New York, all the... only one, short. That book is like just a taster. And there are 8 volumes in English. Now they've made it into 2 big volumes. It's such a beautiful book about Prabhupada's first Rath Yatra, Prabhupada's childhood. Prabhupada's childhood is so sweet. Anyway, that's how the movement started, because Prabhupada wanted to chant Hare Krishna. And like I said yesterday, long kirtans, then Tompkins Square Park. Many of you may not have been to Tompkins Square Park, but you can go there. You can see the tree. It's like a maple tree, like a plane, or what they call it. It's like a maple tree. And there's a sign there. This is where Prabhupada used to sit and stand and did the first kirtans. And just like, in those days we were a lost generation. On one hand there was the Vietnam War. On the other hand there were our parents. I told you yesterday, they didn't know anything about self-realization, middle-class parents. And all my parents were interested in, every year or so. My mother was really nice. I mean, my mother gave me a spiritual life. She took me to Sunday school. There was a hymn, all things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the good Lord made them all. It nurtured my belief in God, faith in God, my mother. So I shouldn't say anything against her. But every year or so she said, we must have new wallpaper. We must have a new cover for the sofa. We must have new carpets. Like this. And my poor father, oh no, I got to cough up for new wallpaper. And she used to bring these like big books full of wallpapers, samples. Now which should we have for the lounge? Which will she have for the hallway? Which will we have for upstairs? Oh, Nikki, you're artistic. Which is the best wallpaper? And then we used to see how much it cost per yard. And then they bring the sofa, and the samples of the carpets, the samples of... What will the neighbors think if we have this old wallpaper now for 5 years? What will the neighbors think? And my father scratching his head, I've got to cough up more money, And that's, that was their self-realization. Enhancing the house, getting a better house, mowing the lawn, getting a new car. So this is our generation's parents, middle-class parents. No hope. There's no hope for them. They didn't understand. We didn't know who we were, why we came into this world, how to be happy. Even if we had money, All we could do is blow our brains out on LSD, and still we weren't happy. Still we weren't happy. So we were lost. There's another name for our generation, the beat generation. We were beaten. We didn't know. And here comes Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hey, wow. Here he comes. That's crazy Swami. And the holy names. What is this? He's playing a drum. Swami playing a drum. I've never seen a Swami play a drum. These uptown Swamis, they just take our money and do meditation. It's a waste of time. But this Swami's got something. And start to dance and sing. Which is the beginning of our movement. And it'll go on like that. This is the heartbeat of our movement. If the Hari Hari Bol stops, this movement stops. There'll be no more Hare Krishna movement when the Hari Hari Bol stops. Hari Bol means chant the names of God. This is our motto. Everything's based on that. It's not based on property or this bodily concept of life. Get back to Yasyama Buddhi. Kunapeti Dhatuke. Swati Kaladadishu Bhomya. One who thinks that I am British, I am German, I am French, it's Maya. It's totally foolish. It's totally foolish. We're changing our body every minute, from childhood to youth to old age. It's not changing actually. You know what Prabhupada said? It's not changing. It's not changing. It seems to be changing. But just like a cinema spool or digital film, it seems to be moving. But actually so many pixels. Billions of pixels every second. Everyone different. You can stop the film. It's static. Stop the film, it's static. But when the pixels are all changing, it seems to move. It's an illusion the body's changing. It's a new body every millisecond. Nature's giving us a new body, but we're the same. Just like a new set of clothes every second. So why do we think we're German or we're French or Italian? You know. After this body ends, who knows what body we'll get? We'll take birth in Wuhan. Everyone's heard of Wuhan. I'm going to take birth in Wuhan, my favorite town. That's where COVID comes from. The Wuhan virus. Trump said the Wuhan virus. Actually, virus, what is a virus? It's Krishna's creation, whatever it is. There's viruses everywhere. It doesn't belong to Wuhan. It belongs to everywhere. Actually, scientists don't believe it's a living being. They say a virus is more like a crystal. The scientists say, it invades the cells and makes them do something wrong. Now, we all used to have virus. We always used to have flu. I always used to lose my taste, runny nose, coughing. Now we used to take lemon and ginger, cough sweets. For a few days it's gone. No problem. Some people used to die of flu. It wasn't a big thing. It wasn't a pandemic. Did I tell you about my statistics? Did I tell you? Didn't tell you yesterday? Oh, this is really interesting. I looked up the global death rates. Actually, I asked my disciple in Brighton, can you check out the global death rates? She said, every minute per minute, guess how many people are dying? Every minute, not of COVID, just death rate. Car accident, cancer, falling off a cliff, suicide, anything, war, drowning. Guess how many per minute? Because there are about how many billion people on this planet? 7 billion or something. 107, almost 108. 107 people average die per minute. how many people, so-called, we don't know if it's true, die of COVID per minute on this planet? 12. 12. That means a ninth of the people who die. But the real problem is what? Death. Janma mrityu jara vyadi. So when you die, you may become Chinese, you become a tree, you become a fish, a bird. This is the science of Bhagavad Gita. Nobody knows. People are so unlucky. And they can't know until there's some space of getting the garbage out of their brains. Our brains are full of garbage. So Cheto Dapana Marjana. Krishna's coming. Kali Kale Nama Rupe. Krishna Avatar. Krishna's coming in the form of his name. Kali Kale Nama Rupe. Nam Chintamani Krishnas. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Purna Sudha Nitya Mukto. Binatvam Nama Nama. Krishna none different from his name. So we're distributing Krishna. Yesterday, it was amazing in Passau. It was one of the most wonderful kirtans we've ever had. Why was it so wonderful? Because they're walking streets and hardly anyone there. And so the people we meet, like they, we can focus on them. And like they really like, many people they surrender. And you know what, I noticed I asked a psychiatrist, they say they go through some, I don't know what they call it. It's like some kind of hysteria. They go through some hysteria. When you get them to chant, then they start laughing uncontrollably. Initial reaction. They start laughing. It's like after 10 million births, at last, I'm getting the holy name. And it's just too much for them. They crack up. And you should have been there, Maharaj. It's just amazing. They just cracked up. And then, so I wait a little bit till the hysteria is over. And then they come to their senses. They open their eyes. And I show them the picture. Hare Krishna. And it's, a good number of them, Hare Krishna. It's like a deep breath, It's just like Prabhupada was telling, the happiness in this material world. What is happiness in this? Some people think, one person wrote me a letter, Margot wrote me a letter from that. She said, can we be happy in this material world? So Prabhupada gave an example. He said in the olden days, maybe in Germany also, they have a plank and they're by the side of the river. So the thief or the criminal, they hold him, tie him to the plank, and then hold him underwater, right? And just as he's about to drown, they lift him up. I'm so happy. He's so happy. He thinks, so happy to drink a bit. Under again. And they're going like this. Till they go, okay, I'll never steal again. I'll never steal again. I'll never steal again. Because it's so expensive to keep people in prison. It costs, $10,000 a year to keep someone in prison. More than that, $100,000. So better to do this capital punishment. That's material enjoyment. You work so hard, slaving in the factory, cheating, and then, okay, 2 weeks holiday, go to Mexico, go down to Genoa on the beach, have a bottle of beer, forget your misery. Is this happiness? Prabhupada said, this is Maya. This is Maya. What is not? This is not happiness. This is suffering. Everyone's suffering. So when they get the holy name, and something happens, Krishna's in the heart, in the heart, is giving them a glimpse. This is real happiness. At last, after millions of lifetimes, in bug, animal species, tree species, fungus species, suffering birth, old age, disease, And here comes real happiness. Nam Chintamani Krishnas. Kalokera Premadana. Harinama. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. And their face lights up like a light bulb inside. And, and it's amazing, just to go on Harinam and see the effect of the holy name. It's so brilliant, And this is what Prabhupada's given us. We can distribute the holy name. This is most, and it gives us so much faith to distribute the holy name. So, back to the sloka, where were we? Then, of course, this meditation, then in Italy, they call us in Villa Vrindavan, we do this yoga. And this Mataji Janava Sundari, she has a yoga studio in class. She's initiated by, I think, Bhagavan, Radhanath Swami. But she calls all the yogis in her studio into the forest. It's called Nunama Sharanya. It's a big forest in Villa Vrindavan. It's a clearing in the forest. She said she brought all the her yogis there. And we were all actually in South Argentina. That's right, I was telling that story. Okay, finish that story. Okay, we were invited to this yoga meditation. So we started the kirtan outside. The sun came out. And they finished it. And all the kids, the girls and boys, they came outside. And then Brajendra Kumar, he led the most amazing kirtan you've ever seen. He knows his hip hop, all these things. And different moves. And they were dancing for like 45 minutes. Hare Krishna mantra. It was so ecstatic, It was just unbelievable. We had mics. And all those young people, mostly girls, and dancing and singing their hearts out. And so actually, although that wasn't present, Prabhupada was preaching in a different time and place. But we can use this yoga for introducing Hare Krishna mantra, and it's quite successful. In Merlimbar, what's it called? New Govardhan. In Australia. That's way out. They have 2,000 acres. I believe you have how many acres here? 80 acres. They have 2,000 acres. So in the bottom they have a village, Yoga Village. They advertise it, Yoga Village. And that's really a good place for backpackers, young people. We don't allow drugs. And we don't allow alcohol, and we don't allow too much, but you can't control everything. But generally people are vegetarian. We don't allow meat, fish, or eggs. Of course, they get prasadam. And we do kirtans, mantra yoga, introduce them to mantra yoga. Some of them come up the hill to see the deities. But actually they all come up the hill for breakfast. Wow, it's an amazing sight. See all these backpackers and young people taking Krishna prasadam every morning. And Hare Krishna before prasadam. And this way, and then there's, from the yoga village, we have a halfway house. It's called the Krishna house. Those who are becoming more interested, start reading the books, are likely customers. They stay in the Krishna house, and then they get more introduced to Krishna consciousness. Then they move up to the main temple, introduced to the... So it can work, this yoga. It can work in Kali Yuga, because I shouldn't say I think, but because we preach Krishna consciousness so much, and people are becoming more in Sattva Gun. This vegan movement is also a sign of Sattva Gun, although I don't agree with it too much, because we love the cows, we love dairy products. But at least they're coming to vegetarianism. They're caring for killing the cows. They don't want to kill the cows. At least they're becoming our customers for prasadam. We can make vegan prasadam. And because we preach Krishna consciousness, something's happening in the world. There are good signs. this is the sign of ecology. People are actually thinking climate change. They don't think demigods, but they're thinking in big sense of the whole planet. We must protect the planet. And they're thinking, they're thinking globally at last. So, because we've spread Krishna consciousness, there's some sattva gunas coming up. And there's so many good signs. So we should press on with this chanting Hare Krishna, like we did yesterday in Pasal, and make this a welcoming place for yogis. Why not? Do you have yoga classes? You can have it, What's the harm, It's a brilliant place for a yoga studio. And the young people can come. They can camp out. They can take prasadam. And, have some kirtan. And it's a possibility, Why not? That's what I'm thinking. Nearly every place we go now, they have some yoga. You can have yoga here, why not? Anyway, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. Oh, I'm too late. 9:17. Prasadam, minus 17 prasadam. Prasadam's finished. No prasadam left. Okay. Do we ask for questions or not? It's up to you. Who's the TP? TP. Akila, where's Kikila? Oh, no. No. Mahaprasade Govinda.